Hello and welcome to this edition of Impacted. And you may have noticed that I am not joined by my brother from another mother, Joe, this week, but I am joined by the man simply known as Steve. Hi, Steve. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, we're not too bad this end, thank you. And say it's good to be back with you and hope everyone out there is doing well themselves.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's difficult times at the moment, so we hope that we're bringing a little ray of joy to everybody's lives when they see us every week, giving our thoughts on Impact Wrestling. Now, don't forget that Impacted is via the Total Nonstop Impact Network on YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. We are there now. This week it's not been particularly newsworthy, has it, Steve? I don't think we've had a lot of news coming out over the last sort of kind of week or so, other than obviously they have announced that the No Surrender event will have I believe this is the main event, but it's certainly a match, would be the Good Brothers versus Private Party, who turned up on Impact a couple of weeks ago with Big Money Matt. So there's some good stuff there. And they ended up taking on, I think it was James Storm and Chris Sabin, the new beer guns. And obviously they ended up winning that match to get themselves the number one contendership for the Impact title at No Surrender. What are your thoughts on that, Steve?
Well, yeah, say that the match itself should be phenomenal, shouldn't it? To quote AJ Styles.
It should be good.
Yeah, and it's going to be an interesting match because you've in the main event scene, you've kind of got Omega going for the world title, and now you've got Private Party kind of going for the tag titles, haven't you? So I'm not really sure like where if they're going to win or not. But the match itself is going to really, really be something to write home about, I think, because the Good Brothers always put on a main event match. And Private Party, I've been impressed with them since day one when I saw them in AEW.
I think it's definitely forward in the AEW storyline. Having them come in and be a part of the, what would be classed as the main event scene with regards to the Impact World titles. Do I think they're going to win? No, but what I do think is that it's going to be a hell of a match. I think it's going to be some shenanigans. I think that could happen. There could be some shenanigans going on, which and then maybe Private Party do walk away with the title.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think there's a chance they can.
Well, you never know. And again, I think that's what makes these, Impact Plus specials must see now, because, we're getting these kind of matches which are must see. And of course, they are starting to be forwarding storylines. So if you miss this, you get to the following Tuesday, you don't know what the hell's going on. Pardon me. So you've got to make sure that you watch these Impact Plus specials. Like you say, they're themed on the old pay-per-view names, which is great. So the next one is No Surrender. Am I right in thinking it's Saturday the 13th? Is that right, Steve?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Saturday the 13th of February.
Yeah.
That's right. So we've got that going on. It's going to be a great Impact Plus special.
Yeah.
The three of us hopefully will be doing a little preview on that one, and also we should be doing the review show the following week. Now, looking forward to that. So I think that's going to be a good match, and it's certainly got my interest on that one. It's definitely got my interest on that one. And of course, that the big money Matt Hardy's going to be, with the Private Party as well. So that's also worth a watch, because you never know. Exactly. You never know what's going to go on with that. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention with regards to news, because it's not been a particularly newsworthy week, was, I've noticed quite a lot that Matt Cardona has certainly been promoting Impact via his social medias. I think we saw a couple of things with regards to Impact through some sort of vlog stuff, and he's also been mentioning about his new T-shirt, and he's definitely making a thing of the whole phrase "I'm here." Which I think is really, really good to see. We all know that Matt's got a massive social media presence. He's got a big fan base. So, there's no, you could safely say that is, if he's promoting it in a positive way, that potentially is going to draw eyes to Impact Wrestling. Do you agree with that, Steve?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I listened to an interview that he did, and he actually said that since he left WWE, he was in talks with Impact ever since he left, but he just couldn't, the timing wasn't right, and he couldn't get things to work out. And finally, they managed to get things to fit together, and
Hmm.
that's why he's here now. And obviously, they're talking in contracts and everything now, but obviously they can't they're hoping things will work out eventually,
Yeah.
but they've been in talks ever since he left WWE. So
Yeah.
he wants to be here, obviously, because he's been in talks ever since he left.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Um,
So the important thing is obviously getting it right. Is getting those
yeah,
figures down, and I think Impact are doing things the right way at the moment because they're saying to you, well, okay, well, you want this kind of money, or this is what you're looking for. You know, you've got to prove to us that you're going to be, you know, you're going to bring in you're going to bring the eyes to the product. You're going to sell the t-shirts. You're going to do this, that, and the other. You know, you've got to be worth the money, right? And I think, you know, I think they're looking to do exactly the same with people like Matt. Obviously, Brian Myers now is signed, and Heath, of course. They're looking to do very similar stuff with Matt with regards to the way that they sort of do other things, and promote the Impact brand via their brand. So, you know, almost like in the moment, the Good Brothers are the Good Brothers. They got their brand, but they are a big advocate and a big promoter of Impact Wrestling, right? So because they're main event, you know, they're the big stars on the roster, you know. So Matt Cardona, Brian Myers coming in from the WWE, etc., they can all be exactly the same, you know, which is it's the same with EY. You know, EY comes in. I know that EY's gone exclusively for 2 years with Impact Wrestling. You know, I mean, if you get the crossover stuff, you do, but he is specifically signed to Impact Wrestling. And again, you know, if you watch Eric's social media, you know, there's never a day goes by that he's not promoting Impact Wrestling. And I think the importance of this kind of collaboration now between, you know, if you're going to bring in, you know, a guy that's got a good social media presence, you know, has got a big following, then it's all got to work it's got to work both ways, isn't it? So I think that's what they're doing. They're saying, look, you know, we can help you promote your own brand, you as a brand, you know, where you earn your own money, you do your own thing. But you have to do the same for us. You have to bring those eyes to our product. And I think that's working quite well so far, certainly with the Good Brothers. And it's working with some of the other guys coming in as well. I mean, you know, do you agree with that? Or do you think that, you know, or do you think there's you know, things are a little bit different to that?
Oh, definitely for the Good Brothers. I mean, you've seen in the short space of time they've been here how much A, they've enjoyed their time here, and B, how much their or not their value, but how much their merchandise and what they've been pushing has been evolving in what they've been doing. It's too
Yeah.
early to see what in the short space of time Matt Cardona has been here, what he's been doing to see the products he's been doing to evaluate.
Yeah.
But you'll be able to see what the stuff he's been involved with can do.
I think what's impressive with regards to Impact now is because it's always been a bit of a thing, sort of bit of a bone of contention for a lot of fans, is that Impact are always so late to the party when it comes to the merchandise side of things. You know, like literally, you know, Matt turns up, you know, at the pay-per-view, Hard to Kill. Literally the following day, there's a T-shirt. You know, could it have been promoted on the night? Probably. But you know, the following day we get a T-shirt. You know, they're starting to look at doing exclusive micro brawlers. They're signing stuff. You know, so things can, you know, retail at a higher price. You know, they're doing these sort of kind of like well, I forgot what they call it, like pop-up shop sale things that are really good on Facebook and stuff like that, where people are bidding, you know, they're bidding for stuff. They've opened up the eBay shop, you know, so all these things it show the Impact are now starting to move in the right direction.
Yeah.
You know, there is more income to be made. You know, the bottom line is to pay the money, because this is what a lot of people forget. To pay the money, you need to sell the pay-per-views obviously at the moment we can't sell tickets to the show, but you need to sell tickets, you need to get bums in seats, and you need to sell merch. Like that's where the money comes from. You can't offer, you know, a Good Brothers a big money deal if you don't have any money coming in, right? So, you know, you have to you have to work it in those kind of ways. What people forget, Zack Ryder, for instance, in WWE, was one of the biggest T-shirt sellers in the whole company. Like, he might not have been in the main event all the time, but he sold shitloads of T-shirts because people liked him. You know, people liked him, and people still like him. Hence why he's got such a massive social media presence. You know, you've got to get your business brain on and forget what he's done before. Forget how he was treated, how he was booked in WWE up north. Forget all of that and look at the here and now. Think, you know, where can this guy go? And I think later on, when we talk about the match the match that he had with Ace Austin and Chris Bay, you'll see how good he actually is in the ring. You know, it was a good solid performance from him. But yeah, that for me, that's an important side of things. It's about what can we gain from having him on the show. That's the important thing. You've got to remember that. And I'm really pleased. I've been saying for months and months and months that Matt Cardona is the one that you want to sign because of his social media presence. And I hope to God that we get ink on paper for him, even if it's only for 12 months or something. It would be good to have him on the show every week.
I mean, we talk about working together with AEW and working together with other companies, but you can work together with your own talent and use the benefits of your own talents, sort of different skills that they have.
Exactly. You know, I mean, we all know that these guys they're getting quite savvy now. You know, wrestlers are quite savvy these days. You know, they understand that there is money to be made from, you know, podcasts and vlogs and you know, being sorting out your own merch and all that kind of stuff. They know that there's money to be made in this, and they're not stupid. You know, they understand that you can get involved and earn a real good living. You don't necessarily have to be on WWE to earn a really good living out of this business. You just have to be really good at self-promotion.
You do.
You know, and that's the thing. People like Matt. I mean, Matt Cardona was the one that come up with the idea of the whole internet championship. If you remember, you know, he was the the internet champion. He was the most popular guy on the internet, and that meant that he got on championship for it. If you remember, that was one of his big gimmicks back in the day. So you know, and he's right. You know, he's a big draw. People like him. And to be honest, I've started watching some of this stuff. Like, I'm not a massive fan of the whole getting the wrestling figures and the all that kind of stuff, but I started watching the podcast and found it quite interesting. So, you know, there's other people out there that are going to possibly start watching their stuff more if they've not been watching it, you know, previously. And, you know, it's going to happen between the two. I think it's good. I think it's good business. I think it's the right decision. I hope he's here for a long time coming. Okay, so that's pretty much the news, really. Like I said, there hasn't been a massive amount of news. So we sort of kind of had to come up with some, really. But there you go. So there are a couple of talking points there. That's for sure. So moving on to this past week on Impact. Now, one thing I did notice straight off the bat, okay, was we had a brand spanking new We Own the Night montage. Did you notice that, Steve?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Did you like it? I really liked it. I like the way that they were showing a few actions and then they sort of kind of like pan to just a singular talent, you know, like a big shot of a singular talent. I thought that was really cool. Did you like that?
Yeah, like I say, it makes it's a subtle change, but it's like, I mean, I noticed I like there's specific wrestlers that I do like.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of shot, it makes it stand out.
Yeah, definitely. I think what you'll notice is that they were picking specific wrestlers that are obviously clearly signed to the brand, and they're almost sort of kind of like promoting them by giving them their own like little close up kind of thing.
And they also try to pick ones that are, I don't want to say, mate, I I don't want to use the wrong word, but relevant right now.
Yes. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that, you know, as time goes on, that they'll change that every now and again. And you know, like you say, one of the ones, if they're not being shown so much, they'll disappear and someone else will come in. You know, I just think I think it was a good use of the montage, the opening montage. I love the way that they do that. It really reminds me of like proper like early 2000s wrestling. You know what I mean? Like old school style, the way that they use. I think it's really good. I really like it. It reminds me a little bit of Raw back in the day when their opening sort of montage is very similar to Raw back in the day, and but it's like a modern, like updated version. You know what I mean? It's a similar style, but it's an updated version. I really like it. So yeah, kudos to whoever puts these kind of montages together, because I think they're great. And this one certainly is. We own the night, baby. So okay, so you know, we open up with Rich Swann coming to the ring. He's obviously booked himself some time to come into the ring. He gives a real nice opening promo, which you know, in the past I've been quite critical of Rich's promos. I find them to be a little bit disjointed. It's almost like he's constantly thinking about the next thing that he's got to say and kind of thing, which you know, people are. So of course he's thinking about it, but to me it comes across in his delivery. So. But I thought that this promo was really, really good. I really liked it. And of course, this promo then was basically calling out Tommy Dreamer to offer him a title shot, because, you know, it's his 50th birthday. He respects Tommy and and all this kind of stuff. Now, you know, you could see in Tommy's face that when he mentioned about the title shot, he was kind of like what? You know, what the hell? And he was almost about to turn it down. And then, of course, Sammy's music hits. We get Sammy coming out, you know, giving his 2 pennies worth. Chris Bay comes out giving his. Moose comes out giving his. It was everyone basically that you would think would be a potential number 1 contender coming out to give their pennies worth and let us know why they were number 1 contenders. What did you think of this section before we go into the next bit?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like you. I thought Rich's promo was phenomenal. It was really, really good. The emotion was, and the connectivity in it was really, really good. But then he called out Tommy, and I was like, well, where's this going? And then Tommy comes out and he gives him a title shot, and I was like, okay. I mean,
it seemed a bit random. It seemed a bit random, didn't it?
Where's this going? And I mean, I love Tommy. I really do. He's done a lot for the business. And he every match he's in, he puts people over. He knows what it means to kind of get younger talent over.
Yeah.
But I don't want to see him in the main event, and I don't want to see him getting a title shot. I mean, I know it's for his 50th birthday. Rich said that, but still, I don't want to see this, sadly. And
I think I'm going to say this. I'm with you on this, Steve, right?
Yeah.
Because you know, I don't want to see Tommy Dreamer on a pay-per-view match. I don't want to see Tommy Dreamer in a special match anymore. You know what I mean? Like I love Tommy Dreamer, and I think he's got so much to offer the business. Okay, but I definitely don't want to see a Tommy Dreamer in a main event of an Impact Plus special. I really don't, because I'm assuming that this is Rich Swann world title match. It's got to be a main event, right? Like,
yeah,
he's the top man. So yeah, so I'm not sure it's something I want to see. I understand that, you know, it's 50th. You know, it's a big thing for him, and I think this is possibly Impact's way of saying, you know, thank you for everything. Then obviously Sammy comes out, giving it the Billy Big Balls as always, and then of course Chris Bay comes out as well, proclaiming that it's actually his 25th birthday, so he deserves a birthday present of a title shot once again. You know, proclaiming that when him and Rich went at it the last time, it was an amazing match. It was, you know, one of the best matches of the year, contenders and all that kind of stuff. So, putting his for. Obviously, Moose comes out. He's a bit disgruntled also that no one's interested in fighting for his TNA title. But there you go. So, but then obviously all hell breaks loose when all of a sudden Sammy clearly presses his button and it all goes dark. And when it all comes to light, Ken Shamrock's in the ring. The usual classic way of using the lighting. And yeah, all hell breaks loose. At the end, obviously, Shamrock, Sammy Ray, and Moose, they all stand tall, in outside. And basically, we get the 4-way main event set up for tonight, basically for that show. But what we didn't know, of course, was that obviously at the moment, when you think about it, all you've got here is you've got Willie Mack, who's just made a return by running in to try and make the save. You've got Willie Mack, you've got obviously Rich Swann, and you've got Tommy Dreamer, but he needs a fourth member because you can't have a 3 against 4. That's not going to be fair, is it? So so that's interesting how that happened. So who was in Scott's office? That's all we need to know at this point. Who is the guy now?
The reaction was great, wasn't it?
Yeah, I love the way they reacted. They sort of kind of went in there. I thought that was really cool.
I was personally hoping it'd be Johnny Swinger.
Yeah, can you imagine? Yeah, I don't think they would have been so impressed with a Johnny Swinger turning up in the office. I don't know. I had my thoughts. I was someone like Alpha Male. Monty Brown would have been very cool. Maybe another returning star from the past might have been really good. But so it's very interesting to see exactly who's going to be in the office. Of course we know. We're just kayfabing here. So that was all very interesting stuff. Lots of intrigue was going on. We were waiting to find out, but it was interesting to see how this all pans out. Now, then we had the next match, which was Matt Cardona versus Ace Austin, and Matt Cardona, Josh Alexander, because he's a tag match, versus Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. What were your initial thoughts on this one, Steve?
I thought it was a decent match. I thought everyone kind of got enough in to look like they shined. Although for me, I don't know if something about the match didn't quite click. Right. I'd rather see like a one-on-one match, I think, between Ace and Cardona.
Yeah, I'm sure that's coming.
Yeah, because I don't know. I don't think Alexander and Fulton kind of worked together quite well when they were in the match together. I don't know, something didn't quite work. Like the ankle lock against Fulton kind of didn't click.
It looked a bit messy, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
Yeah, I think there was a couple of points in the match where, like you say, it was a little bit messy at times. That was one of them that you mentioned there. But I think overall it was fairly fast paced. We had some good change. We had some good teamwork being on display. I mean, they clearly said, right, okay, let's do this, let's do that, let's do the other. I think Fulton actually looked really, really strong.
Yeah, he did.
Even though obviously at the end Matt Cardona pins him for the win, I still think he looked really strong in this match, and he's a monster, isn't he? He's a badass. So he looked good. Ace got some good offense in, but I think who really looked, like you say, Josh Alexander also looked strong. They were showing off his sort of kind of mat technical based stuff, which was good. He also sold really well. I thought his selling was good as well. But I think it was inevitable that Matt Cardona was going to pin somebody. And I'm not surprised that it was Madman Fulton, because you can't have Matt pinning Ace yet, or that you can't have that happen at all, I don't think. So I think where this is leading to over the next couple of weeks, I think this is leading to an Ace Austin versus Matt Cardona match at the No Surrender Impact Plus event, possibly.
Yeah, very likely.
I think that's a possibility there. Like I said, one thing I did notice as well. Have you noticed there's a couple of new camera angles?
Mm.
And I thought it was really evident there was a couple of new camera angles in this particular match.
Yeah, especially in this match. And I think as well in the main event, because you've got more people, so there's more angles where you can catch things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it definitely helps in a match that you've got more people, so you can, obviously get more things going on.
Yeah, and of course we've had the crowd noise. Still, we're still continuing with that.
But again, I didn't notice it, which is good.
Yeah,
because it just sinks in.
It just sits there in the background. You just assume people are there.
Yeah,
like your brain just gets fooled into thinking there's people there, which I think which is good, and it worked. Again, we're getting some really good commentary as well from the brand spanking new commentary team.
Yeah,
I think Matt Stryker is awesome. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I think Matt Stryker is such a good commentator, and he knows the moves, he knows the names of everything.
Yeah, I say all night I thought they were great. There was one moment in the night where I was a bit like, not sure, but that was just one moment, and I think we'll get there later.
Yeah, we will do. We will do. Okay, so moving on from that, obviously, like I said, Matt Cardona gets the pin over Fulton. We also get some more of the "I'm here" stuff from Matt Cardona as well in the ring, which I thought
this was my first time properly seeing Matt Cardona, because I don't really watch WWE.
Okay.
And like I say, Hard to Kill was the first time seeing Matt Cardona in the ring for me.
Yeah.
And this was my first time seeing him in a full match, because obviously the last match got stopped in a DQ.
Yeah.
And yeah, he looks like, he looks very impressive, and he looks like one of those guys you can probably put in any division, X division, main event, tag, and a bit like Eddie Edwards, really.
Well, he's got a good look, hasn't he? I mean, he's a big, strong dude.
He's bigger than you think, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's about 6'4", maybe something like that. He's a big guy, just a little bit shorter than Fulton. He was. I think he was a couple of inches shorter than Fulton.
Yeah.
But he's got a big, strong. He's well built. And he can move. And I think that's one of the impressive things with Matt as well.
But yeah, he looks like the kind of guy he's big, but you wouldn't hesitate to put him in the X division either.
Because he moves so well.
Yeah,
exactly. No, I agree. And a lot of people don't realize, I mean, Matt's been in the business for like 16, 17 years.
Yeah.
He's not green. This guy knows what he's doing, so, he's going to be good. Put him in with some good talents. You're going to get good matches. And that's what they did. It was a good match. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It was a good match. Really good match. Like I said, it had a couple of things in there that were maybe a sort of slight fumble or whatever, but generally I think it was a really, really good match.
If I was being nitpicky, I don't want to see this last too long, because I don't want to see Alexander be in another tag team.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think we'll see Josh and Matt tag again. I think it was just that's how they wanted to start off this kind of potential feud, which is going to end, I think, with Ace Austin pinning Matt Cardona either. I would say probably no surrender. That's I think that's the initial program that they've got for Matt. It's going to get to that point, and then it'll move on after that. However, there's a couple of interesting things that happened later. But we also then got a fantastic promo from Rohit. But who was he talking to? Now, this is the thing. Have you got any thought? I'm going to go with Karam. Do you know why? That's his tag partner from AEW. Does a lot of work on the indies with him, and I know there's been talk of Karam possibly coming in. And he did say, "That's why I brought you here." That was one of the words he said. That's why I brought you here. So it's not someone on the roster. It's a new person.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's Karam. But who knows? Who do you think it could be?
Well, I say, given the outfit, it was sort of like a reddish kind of like garb.
Yeah.
I thought, well, is it Shearer he's bringing back?
Oh, maybe.
But I was like,
whoever it was a big dude, because he was like looking up to them, and the shoulder of the big dude was sort of kind of head level, wasn't it? It was like head level. Whether that was how the way that they filmed it, I don't know. But I think whoever it is a big dude.
Yeah, but I was like, but I say I kind of don't want it to be, because you're going back to like the Daisy Hit squad.
I definitely don't want to see Shearer. No, I'm not interested in seeing him. You know, a couple of reasons really. I mean, one of them's a personal thing. I found him to be a bit unapproachable when I was when I was at the New York tapings, whereas Rohit, for instance, was incredibly approachable. He was a really nice bloke. I ended up interviewing him. It's my very first interview on Bison Talks Impact. Great guy, remembered me and everything, which I thought was really, really cool. But Shearer was very standoffish with everybody, not just me, just everyone there. And for me, I'm thinking, like, for a guy that wants to get over, like, you would have thought he'd be a little bit more fan friendly, shall we say? You know what I mean? So yeah, that sort of kind of put me off him a little bit. And to be honest, I'm not convinced by him either. His in-ring ability, I think he's not there yet. I think he's not. For me, he's not TV material. That's my opinion.
He's been very up and down for years. He's had some good matches, but then he's had some terrible matches.
Yeah. I mean, he tried the old comedy with all this, this stuff. If you remember, were you involved in the Shearer dance? So you were around then. That didn't kind of work for him. And now he came in with the Desi Hit Squad as sort of kind of like this, beast of a man. And then it sort of started to work. It started to work. It was fairly believable of this beast, but of course then the pandemic hit, and then the Desi Hits got sort of didn't happen. It was only Rohit it was available to use at that time, and then he got pushed, which is good for Rohit. In reality, without having Shearer, or I can't remember which one it was now. Was it Raj? Raj? Yeah. It was Raj with him, wasn't it? Raj Singh and Gamma. Without them there, it allowed Rohit to then shine and get his opportunity. So, and that's been great.
Yeah.
So I'm over the moon for that. So like I said, I have a feeling that this could be the introduction of Karam on Impact TV.
And now you've said that, I'm with you on that one.
I really, really hope so. But like you said, it could be Shearer. But I'm hoping it's Karam. I really, really hope it's Karam. I really want to see that guy on TV. I think he's amazing talent. And Impact would be really, that would be a really good get for them to bring in Karam, definitely. So we then get a paid ad from the AEW Tonys. And again, I've been saying this now pretty much ever since these started, that it's again building AEW and Tony as the heel promotion, right? No matter what, because they're putting Impact down, there's all sorts of stuff, through this kind of paid ad thing. I mean, Tony's obviously getting very confident in his delivery. He's and he was pushing his biceps out again. I don't know if you noticed that. So he was doing all of that. So and I think that that's stuff that's been picked up on. And what I like about Impact is they pick up on stuff that's being said, and then they take the mick out of it on the show. Right, and I love that. I think that's great, and that's exactly what Tony's been doing over all these paid ads. If you were to watch all these paid ads, you will see that there's digs, although it's geared towards Impact or wherever. The digs themselves are things that people are saying online, right? That's what they all are. Situation of somebody saying that AEW are buying the promotion, so they'll take the mick out of it in one of the ads. And they'll take the mick out and nobody watches Impact, or that kind of thing, So all these little things are all in there all the way through these paid ads. I quite like them, and I think it works because it's building AEW as that heel faction, which is what we need. Because if we're going to go to eventually this kind of like AEW versus Impact, where Impact are going to get completely fed up with all this crap, then we need one side to be a heel and the other side to be the face underdog. And I think that's what they're trying to do here. They're trying to create AEW as a big bad, almost like the big bad WWE type thing. But obviously it's AEW, and then Impact of the underdog sort of kind of little company, the little company that could, you know what I mean? That type of thing. And they're going to come up, and then we're going to have this big clash eventually. But that's my thoughts. What about you?
Yeah.
What about you, Steve?
Yeah. I'd say that's sort of it's sort of possible that it is like we're the face and they're the heel, but we haven't really heard anything on their side that's what's going on. Like, we haven't had any paid advertisements from us to them that, like, yeah, we're the face coming to you.
Well,
So it is.
Who knows what's going to happen now? Because if you notice, ever since Christmas, everything seems to have stepped up a gear.
Yeah.
I
think like watching them, like, I don't mind watching the videos like when Shivani's doing it, because it comes across a bit more like, yeah, we're taking the mick, and it's like, it's just a genuine, like, we're poking fun. But it's just when Tony Khan's doing it, like, he's poking fun at it, but it's a bit more smug. And I struggle to kind of take it in, because I get the feeling like if I was to meet him in person, he'd speak to me in exactly the same way.
Oh, really? Okay.
You get the feeling like the way he talks is how he is in real life.
He probably, he may well be. I don't know.
And I think that's why I kind of struggle to watch it. Whereas because I don't think it's a character. I think that's exactly how he is.
Well, I don't know. I'm not too sure about that. But what I do know is that I think if he was like that all the time, I'm not sure Impact would want to do business with him. But I think, no, I get what you're saying. But like I said, at the end of the day, the wrestling business is the entertainment business. And if you don't build the story, if you don't get people invested, if you don't, give people a reason to watch, to want to see, a specific match or a specific show or, whatever, then, wrestling is just guys, flipping around in a ring. So I always refer to wrestling as almost like in British terms, it's like the EastEnders of sport. That's what it is. It's all about the entertainment. It's all about the storylines, building to create something that we're invested in and want to see. That's exactly what they're doing. Like I said, they're getting in there, they're creating this almost heel flavor to what they're doing, and that's what I think is happening there. But I'm really looking forward to seeing how this develops over the next sort of 12 months. Hopefully it continues to flourish. We start to see viewers increase as the storylines become more and more must see. So I for one am really, really looking forward to that, the way this all pans out. And I hope that I'm right in that they are building AEW up to be the big heel of this whole thing. But no, it's good to see. It's great to see.
There's still an interesting dynamic in where the Bullet Club form. They're kind of in the middle, aren't they?
Yeah, which is really weird. And that's why I think that eventually the Good Brothers are going to end up being the heroes for Impact Wrestling. But we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. So we then move on to the backstage segment where we had Matt and Josh sort of kind of coming off their win, blah, blah, blah. And then Brian Myers suddenly comes through the door and we get Bad Mood Brian, which I thought was, which was cool saying. He's obviously like a bit pissed off that his mate had tagged with somebody else. And he's like, well, basically screw you, mate. And that's effectively, and then of course, that's, I guess what that's doing is saying, look, these guys are not going to tag up. They're not going to be a tag team. They're two separate wrestlers on this roster. And I think that's what they were trying to do there. Brian's going off doing his own thing. Matt's going to go and do his own thing. But I did like that's bad mood, Brian. I did like that. I thought that was quite funny. What did you think on this? What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, I did read that Myers did an interview, I think, and he said that going forward, him and Cardona were not going to team.
Yeah.
Because they teamed pretty much throughout the WWE, and they wanted to, do some singles runs and freshen things up. So I did expect that if Cardona did come in, they were not going to team, and this kind of put that seal on it.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, it was quite, it was quite interesting. Like Myers hasn't kind of shown that kind of like bad mood aggression, has he?
No, not really. I
So
mean,
this is
he's
quite
shown he's a
nice.
bit of a he's shown that he's a bit of an asshole, kind of like
Yeah.
he's all out for himself, isn't he?
Yeah.
So I think we've definitely seen that from him. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, you're right. I don't think we've sort of kind of seen this
Seen the
almost.
anger, have we?
Yeah, it's almost like angry, bad. Yeah, like say,
Yeah.
bad mood, Brian.
Mm.
So it's almost like that's a take of Bad News Barrett, right? That's what that is.
Yes.
Bad mood, Brian. So I quite like that. I thought that was cool. But obviously that then led into the Myers versus Eddie Edwards match. Now, again, I thought this was a really solid match. They both got in some good offense. And then we sort of kind of I tell you what, these kind of matches, if your commentary's not good, right, you could easily sort of kind of like start getting bored. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that an Eddie Edwards match is boring or Myers. I'm not saying it's boring, but they're two guys that are not sort of flippy flowing around all over the place or anything like that. They are, they're hard hitting. In fact, technical wrestlers, right? They're going to tell you a really cool story, but it sometimes needs the commentary to help tell that story. And I think this is where like Matt Stryker and D'Lo came in here, because they really told the story as this match was progressing, and of course that ended with Eddie reverting back to crazy Eddie and raking the eyes and trying to bite Cardona's head and Brian Myers' head, and obviously Eddie sort of kind of and it's like the commentary will like revert into the crazy Eddie character, and he's gone off the rails. What's going on? You sort of can't. It's like, okay, this is what's going on here. They're reverting back to the more hardcore version of Eddie Edwards, I guess. What do you think?
Well, I say this match was one that I was probably looking forward to the most, and it didn't disappoint.
Okay, good.
For me anyway. But I mean, I will say before the match happened, I was getting a little bit confused on where Myers was going. He was going through match after match after match and couldn't really see the end goal on where he was heading.
Yep, sure.
But yeah, and then he had this match with Eddie, and this is kind of taking an interesting turn now. Eddie's kind of got this interesting new direction, although it did come out of a bit out of nowhere. And Myers may kind of go into an interesting direction now, because obviously Eddie's kind of maybe done something to him. Maybe he's maybe thought, well, maybe I won't cheat no more, because maybe this is kind of what happens.
Yeah,
who knows? But this match could change a few things.
But again, because we had the DQ in there, we get Myers walking away with the win. So, but it doesn't make Eddie doesn't look weak, because, he got DQ'd because he was going crazy again. His character was reverting back. So it's interesting, because me and you, we've had this conversation about the potential of having a mid-card title and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not overly keen on that, but you know what? I'd like to see a speciality one. So maybe a hardcore title or a King of the Mountain title type of thing. But it'd be interesting to see. What I'm saying is, I guess, like, I know for instance, like Brian Myers is a massive Abyss fan, right? So and I think Myers has always wanted to go down that route. Now, if you look at his ring attire and everything, he had a ring attire which was a tribute to Abyss at Slammiversary, I want to say, but I might be wrong on that one. It may have been Bound for Glory, where he had this sort of kind of ring attire which was inspired by Abyss when he was wearing the sort of kind of like the black and gold, the black and silver stuff. So I thought that was interesting the way that the way he was paying tribute to Abyss in that way, knowing that Abyss is a hardcore wrestler. He was that was what he built his legacy on, right? So interestingly, you've got Eddie who's been there and done that, sort of kind of eased back off it. Then we get him going into the barbed wire massacre match and winning, right? So what's next for him? Sammy's going to move on, as he always does, into whatever it is he's going to do. Will Eddie turn up again in that? Probably at some point. But Eddie needs to start something with somebody else, and who perfect to start it with than an emerging recent signing, Brian Myers. And I think maybe we're going to see the return of some like hardcore stuff. Maybe we're going to see more barbed wire on bats, and who knows where it's going to go with this, but street fight stuff, What do you think?
Yeah, very possibly. Yeah. I'd say you just sort of wonder at the end of the day what the match after match after match, you then sort of think, hang on a minute, why are they fighting? It's just because Myers was complaining about he was poked in the eye.
Yeah. Well, and bit on the head.
Yeah, you then kind of delve into that. They're having a feud because he was poked in the eye.
I guess so. But you have to have something that starts it, don't you?
Yeah,
and then it just gets worse and worse and worse as the time goes on. But I don't know. Do you think there's a possibility we could be seeing a return to like a hardcore division?
Possibly. It's interesting you mention about that, because Moose a while ago put out an idea for a speciality title, and he said he never mentioned it to management, but he said he did have a really good idea for one.
Yeah, I mean, I think there should be. I think maybe a speciality thing is something that would be a good title to have, but we just have to wait and see. I think this is going to lead to some hardcore matches over the coming weeks between Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers, getting some sort of program going with those guys. So I'm looking forward to that. And like I said again, I think the commentary really sold this to me.
It did, yeah.
It was really good. So we then go backstage. We get the Fire and Flavor Festival promo. And Swinger walks by with a few of his hoes. I don't know what he called. I think he called them Swingerillas. I think
one was his ex. He said, didn't he?
Oh, something like that. Yeah. So anyway, so he walks past with a couple of lovely ladies, and that's sort of kind of like all of a sudden Kira has an idea. Sorry, Kira has an idea going forward for the Fire and Flavor Festival. So yeah, interesting. So we move on. We then get the promo from Big Money Matt and the Private Party guys. And clearly you can see that everything is all about Big Money Matt in this section. He mentions on several occasions that, it's down to him why they're winning, and, he fully deserves his 50-50 split on the money. And, there's a lot going on. He also mentions that, maybe they should be going for the AEW tag titles as well. It doesn't make quite as much money, 70-30 split over there, but, seems to be a good option. So there was a lot of that, it was almost like you were waiting for Matt to do some Steiner math.
Yeah.
But we didn't quite get there. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good promo. Did you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. And to me, the promo was great, but Private Party's reactions were just as good. They complement each other really just as well.
Yeah, they were good. I think, I'm pretty sure it was us. It, was doing all the good tag moves, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, I sort of kind of, I felt that. And of course, at the end of the day, it's all going to lead to a big bust up between them because they're going to get pissed off with Matt, aren't they? And all the rest of it.
Yeah, you can see it coming.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be in the mix somewhere. But it's great to see Matt Hardy back on Impact TV.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, I when he first came in, I mean, like I say, I didn't know too much about Matt Hardy. I knew obviously who he was, but I'd never seen him that much. But like I say, I was a bit like, he's not that great, but then he wasn't in great shape. And then I was like, okay, this guy's decent. And then he was like, okay, he's kind of phoning it in. But then I was like, okay, I've been sort of hot and cold on him. But then
Yeah,
when he was at his peak, he was fantastic. But then when he was at his low, he was like at his low.
yeah. I mean, he's in great shape now.
Yeah.
He's proper focusing, I think, on his, final sort of kind of performing years. I don't think he's got many years left as a performer. But one thing's great with Matt is you could definitely see him having a big future behind the scenes in any wrestling promotion.
Yeah.
He's got so much to offer. A very talented guy. Great mind for the business. Great mind for training. Wrestlers as well. I mean, I know that Matt and Jeff were a part. Were part of the training team that trained the Young Bucks, for instance.
Yes.
They introduced them into the scene via their I forgot what the promotion was called, but they had their own promotion and everything. The Hardy. So there was a lot of stuff that was in the background. And the guy has got so much to offer, and I really, when he left WWE, I was like, man, you've got to come back to Impact. You would be amazing on the Impact brand, and not just because of his on screen stuff, but just his mind for the business. Getting him, in creative, and stuff like that would be amazing. And I could see Matt, later on in life ending up on a creative team of an AEW or an Impact or whatever, and doing really, really good stuff, really great things. So yeah, I'm great. It's great. We've seen Matt now for the last 2 weeks on Impact TV. I believe they're going to be making an appearance next week as well. So it's going to be good to see them on there as well. But yeah, no, I like the way this is going. This is good. This is what a working relationship between two companies is. You know what I mean? This is good. I like this. So then we get the Tennille Dashwood and Rosemary representing Decay, obviously, match. Now, that entrance is awesome, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
it's got to be Rosemary's entrance has got to be the best professional entrance segment of any wrestler in the world right now.
Up there with Undertaker, isn't it?
It's brilliant. It's so good. The lighting that they use is great. The way that they sort of kind of like turn it almost into like a cartoony kind of visual.
Although I need to correct you. It's not Rosemary. It's Decay. It's no longer Rosemary. They're known as Decay now.
Yeah. But when she's singles wrestler, she was Rosemary. Tonight it was Tennille versus Rosemary.
Yeah.
From Decay.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see again where the Decay faction starts to build. But like I said, great entrance. There was some cheap shots from Tennille. That was a tongue twister. With the use of the camera bag. It was just sort of kind of like there was Tennille was being a proper sort of heel character. She was cheap shotting all over the place. So, but there was some good stuff though. I mean, like it was a good match. I really enjoyed it. And then obviously eventually Rosemary gets the momentum back, ends up winning the match for Decay. And, again, good to see Rosemary winning. She's back to winning ways. What happens? What's going on with Tennille? I don't really know. I'm not. She just. I know she keeps losing for a start, so I'm not sure where we're going with Tennille. I think she needs to realize that maybe her character is not the right way to go about things. But there you go. But it was nice to see Rosemary get another win under her belt. Solidifying her as a bloody good knockout. I don't know. What were your thoughts on the match?
Yeah, I was going to say the match itself was decent. I think they've had a couple that were a bit better than this. I felt a couple of points were like the styles slightly clashed, but overall I thought the match was decent.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure, but like you say, that I don't know where the story's going. Obviously they've had a couple of matches because Rosemary's turned Tennille down as being a partner, But Tennille must have gone through every single person by now as being her partner. So I don't know where she's going.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Tennille at the moment.
Yeah.
She's sort of kind of like in that no man's land where she's sort
Yeah.
of there. They're giving her stuff to get her on TV because they're probably
Yeah.
paying her a lot of money.
Yeah.
Um,
And I don't even know why this story's still going between these two, because they've had a match for
well, I
turning
think
it
it's
down.
done. I think that's
Yeah.
done now anyway. So we then get I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, we then get the return of Larry D,
Yeah.
which then goes to the backstage. I was great to see that. I love the way that they were like talking about Rosemary and that she was sort of kind of a witch or, you know, whatever she did to him. And it's been a nightmare and it's the worst thing ever. And then, of course, you know, Crazy Steve and Rosemary come backstage and then we have a bit of a face off. So I guess what we're looking at here now then is that there's going to be some kind of feud now between Triple XL and Decay. Now, I'm not sure how this is going to work because you know, obviously it's Rosemary, so and Steve, not particularly big, up against, you know, two massive dudes. So I'm not sure how that one's going to work, and I think this is where we need to see a third member of Decay. So that we've got this, you know, like we were saying before, we've got this sort of kind of like potential to form a tag team, you know, a male tag team or a female tag team. You know, I've mentioned that before. Obviously, Taya was written off TV. You know, I thought maybe there's a potential that Taya could be sort of kind of, you know, reintroduced into the shadow to become, you know, Rosemary and you know, the Ragnarok tag team solidify that. But obviously she's now gone. So, you know, what are they going to do? How are they going to deal with Triple XL? Because that, you know, you're talking two massive dudes against a smaller female, and a I don't know. I mean, Steve is what, X Division size as well. That's not what you say, but he's about what, 190 pounds, maybe something like that, compared to Triple XL. He's a small guy. So I think this is where we're going to see that Rosemary and Steve are going to need to bring in some heavy help. What do you think?
Oh, well, yeah, you'll definitely have another person brought in, but you've seen it before where you've had a smaller guy take on a bigger guy. I mean, AJ Styles in the past took on Abyss and won. So it has happened. But I can see the Decay bringing in a third person. But do you think Triple XL will bring in or add a knockout for a match and have a three-way or a three on three?
Maybe. You know, maybe that's something that we could end up seeing eventually. But what I do know is that obviously they're not very happy with Rosemary. So
No, definitely.
we definitely, there's definitely something being built here. And where this is going to go, I'm looking forward to seeing, because everything that is Decay, everything that is Rosemary and Crazy Steve is gold for me. So
I like they called it back as well to that, you know, the original Rosemary and Larry D.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, no, I agree with that. Definitely. So we then move on from that, okay, because we get like that little standoff there, Rosemary snarling and making some interesting noises. We then move on from that into Swingers Palace, which was full of the Swingerillas, and we have Fala and Bravo on the table, you know, so with Swinger obviously making some money out of this, so it's all good. But then obviously we get Kiera and Tasha turn up again with regards to this, and then we have another backstage moment obviously in there, and then that leading everybody to obviously turn up for the Fire and Flavor festival later on in the night. So that's all interesting stuff, the way all this is panning out. Now, we then get, which I thought this was a little bit random, to be honest. I thought it was a little bit random, but fair enough. We then get Deanna, Susan, and Kimberly doing a promo. They were obviously, you know, talking about everything that's been going down with them. And then Jazz turns up, obviously giving it the big one. Jordan Grace turns up, and we get a bit of a thing going on there. And then obviously what this ends up with is Jordan Grace versus Susan. Now, I love the way that they're pushing this Susan character forward now. They're making her, in America, they call it a Karen, which is basically a sort of bitch type of, know-it-all type character. And I think Susan is, or Sue, whoever she is playing and portraying this perfectly. What do you think?
Yeah, so in this promo, this was like the first time we've properly seen her cut a promo herself and act in a shock character.
Yep.
And it was perfectly done. And even when she was talking to Jordan, her reactions were really, really well done. Like, why did she touch me like that? That wasn't proper.
Yeah, definitely. I like the way she called her Jordan,
yeah,
because it's spelled with a Y. Yeah, I thought that was quite funny.
Also like when she has a match, she wrestles in her normal clothes.
Yeah. stretchy versions. But no, definitely.
Yeah,
but I think this is going to be interesting because
it is.
Sue is an amazing character-driven wrestler, but she is so good in the ring. Yeah. So I think it doesn't matter. She's almost got different move sets as well, which is what I really like. She's 3 characters, and each character has its own specific way of wrestling.
Yeah. I like on the website, her profile has got 3 profile pictures.
Yeah, exactly. Which is 3 people. Yeah. Now we know that the 3 different versions of Sue. Could there be a 4th?
Yeah. Well,
Who knows? Who knows?
Suzanne.
She is definitely the signing that keeps giving. That's for sure.
Yeah. You don't realize how versatile she can be.
Oh, she's so good. She's so good. But, like you say, Sue Young is re-signed. Susie's signed. Is Susan going to get her own profile pic, her own bit on the... I have not looked recently, actually.
Yeah, she has. There's 3 different pictures on the website.
Well, I see. There you go. You say 3 in 1, mate. 3 in 1 knockouts. Love it. So then that obviously... So then we get the setup of the Jordan Grace versus Susan match. So we're looking forward to that one. We then get the Fire and Flavor Festival. It all kicked off with MC Lish. Now, this was the best I've ever heard Alicia Edwards speak.
Yeah,
like this MC Lish character was fantastic. Like, she flowed, she had all her little patter down. She'd obviously been practicing this one in the mirror. She had it all down, and it was the perfect delivery. I thought it was fantastic. So well done, Lish Edwards. That was really, really good. We really enjoyed that. Now, obviously, out in the ring, we had a table which had some catering bits and bobs on it. We had the Swingerillas right there. Obviously, Swinger was out there. Bravo. And a few other people were out there, which was interesting. They were all sort of kind of like basking in the ambience of the Fire and Flavor Festival. Then comes the moment where she hands out the food. In the boxes, the food gets handed out. It was supplied by Foreman's of Nashville Catering Company, which I thought was really good. So shout out to Ross Foreman there for the not so fantastic food provided for the Fire and Flavor Festival that was going on in the ring. It wasn't good. I mean, the cheese even had the wrapper still on it. I mean, what's going on? Terrible, absolutely terrible. So at this point, we're now getting a few upset people who've come along to this, this Fire and Flavor Festival. They're not having a good time. Absolute rubbish. Though food's getting chucked around. It's all not turning out the way the girls expected it to, I'm sure. Then, if I remember rightly, I think it was Tasha. Am I right? Was it Tasha or Kira noticed that there was a Marshmallow Man sat outside the ring, and of course, Was it Kira? It was
It was
Kira.
Kira,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, it was Kira. So, and then of course, she's thinking, oh, it's Fala, because Fala wore that to Bravo's wedding, right? So she's thinking that it's Fala sat there outside the ring. So she's going out to humiliate him. But who does it turn out to be? Who does it turn out to be, Steve?
Nevaeh.
Nevaeh. And so Nevaeh then is obviously, she's obviously pissed at everything that's going on, wants to mess up this whole thing, send a statement, make a point. So she gets obviously in the ring, starts distraction. And then who comes out of nowhere, Steve?
Havoc.
Havoc. And what does Havoc do? Well, she does what she does best and just leaves a ring full of destruction. And I think that was, it was good. It was really good. And I think what that's done, of course, is set up that Havoc and Nevaeh are not done with these Knockouts tag titles. And what are your thoughts, mate? Are we, is this the right thing to do? Or should they be focusing on another tag team now?
Well, I think we all assumed that Havoc and Nevaeh were going to be first in line to challenge. Depends when they're going to challenge, because I think personally, I don't know about everyone else, but personally, I would like Fire and Flavor to have a good title reign.
Yeah.
But then that's not to say that Havoc and Nevaeh win.
Yeah.
They might not win.
Again, I think maybe this is setting up a rematch, the rematch for No Surrender, possibly. And then obviously Fire Flavor will win, and then that's the end of Havoc and Nevaeh kind of challenging for them for a while, and then again it'll move on. So I think I'd like to. I mean, it was a fantastic match. I mean, let's face the facts.
The first
Hard to Kill was an amazing match. So yeah, I'm all for having it again. It would be great. And like you said, it can sort of kind of consolidate that part, and then the girls can move on and hopefully, like you say, have a fairly decent run. I heard that Kira Hogan is very hot on the idea of having a title match with Taylor Wilde and Sarita. Did you see Taylor and Sarita when they were tag champs?
Yeah.
They were good. They were very good tag champs. So it'd be interesting to see whether that happens.
What's Sarita's status right now?
She's a free agent, mate. Well, she's not been working for WWE for quite some time now. So she's out there. I believe she was taking some time out to go and tour the US in her Winnebago or something. So, but how that's panned out, I don't know with regards to the pandemic situation. Is she able to do that? I don't know.
Yeah.
But she is certainly available, definitely. So it'd be interesting to see if that does pan out. But yeah, so okay, so I think that's certainly what we're looking at. And also, I did notice. Did you notice that Lish turned on them as well?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah. So as all of that sort of kind of panned out, it was almost like Alicia Edwards was almost like the the glue which glued that segment together. She may possibly set it up, if that makes sense. So right at the end, Alicia was giving them a load of mouth as well.
Oh right.
So yeah, siding with Havoc and Nevaeh. So that's interesting. So she turns on Fire and Flavor. So yeah. So anyway, so this is all then obviously done and dusted. We then get a backstage segment where Sabin is sort of cracking open a beer. Well, we know that Sabin's not a beer drinker based on a previous promo, but he's cracking open a beer. And who walks in at the bar? None other than the beer swilling cowboy James Storm. And we see a discussion with regards to them two teaming up once more and going for that Impact Tag Team Division Championship. Beer guns, baby, beer guns. I liking it. What are your thoughts?
No, this segment was gold. It really was. Sabin struggling with the beer, drinking the beer, and saying, well, if you get lemons, make lemonade, and then Storm saying, nah, chuck them away and get a beer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love the
yeah.
Jack when they did the Jack chaser. That was
Yeah,
quite cool.
that was hilarious. But it was interesting that Storm was saying, well, I'm here. Let's go and get them tag titles. That was quite encouraging because he was focused on sort of saying, well, let's go and get them. That kind of gave you an encouraging sort of.
Yeah, I think we're definitely got a little bit more of James Storm to come, which, like you said, these things are exactly what we need. They're exactly what we need. We want more James Storm, definitely. We want to see Matt Cardona. We want to see these guys coming in and really setting the place on fire, getting more eyes on the product. Exactly what we need. So all of that goes down, and obviously Saban and Storm, beer guns are going to be doing some stuff moving forward. So that's good to see. We then go to Tasha and Kira again. Backstage, a little bit pissed off on the way everything had gone down. You got Brandon Toll coming out, referee Brandon Toll coming out asking for refunds and all sorts of stuff like this. And Tasha and go, no refunds, get out of here, and they're off. So we had all of that going on. So they're not happy. They're not very happy. They've got Havok and Nevaeh now to deal with for sure. So that's how that's gonna. I think that's what they were doing there, just solidifying that. We then cut to the Joe Doring versus cousin Jake match. Obviously, the Violent by Design faction accompanied Joe Doring, so they came out, and then eventually Jake comes out again. Some really good commentary stuff here, where they're sort of kind of selling the story. I really liked it. I thought that was really good. Obviously, this was a put over Joe Doring as a beast.
Yeah.
Match. I mean, the dude is massive. He is massive. Massive man. And Jake's not small.
No.
Now, the thing is, so we get Doring dominating Jake. Jake did get some offensive in, don't get me wrong. There's a little bit in there, but pretty much it was Doring beating Jake up, really. So he then dominates and gets the win. We then get a Violent by Design beatdown on Jake. Now, but as they were setting up the leg, because there was a bit of a moment where he hurt his ankle earlier, EY stopped them from doing it. He stopped them from doing it, sent them, said, come on, let's go, we're off now. The commentary did good here as well, because they're like, well, why would he do that? Blah, blah, blah. And then the next thing you know, he's just dropping he's dropping the Violent by Design towel onto Jake. Now I initially didn't think this, but then commentaries then say, what does that mean? Is that an invite? Is he, what does that mean? So I think the dropping of the Violent by Design towel onto Jake possibly was an offer of him to, get baptized and turn into his purest form, or whatever. Possibly. I think that's possibly what it was. So who knows? Maybe next week we'll see Jake in prison, getting baptized and being revealed as his purer self. I don't know. What do you think on all of this?
Yeah, I agree that it looks like an offer to Jake to join Violent by Design. The only issue I have with it is if it is an offer for him to join, then I don't see any reason for Cody to have turned on him and join previously. Why not just get both of them to join at once? That's the only.
Maybe, but then maybe that's the thing. People need to be persuaded, or people see things differently. So if they'd have turned them both at the same time, that would have been more like a cloning thing as opposed to necessarily an enlightenment thing, because people get enlightened in their own time. So I don't know. It's interesting. Will Jake take up the opportunity, or will Jake not? Who knows?
Yeah. Well, he still hasn't joined yet, has he?
Not officially.
We don't know, but I mean, already they're looking very intimidating as Striker point. I mean, Striker did say one very interesting thing that, you know, if Violent by Design went to AEW, would anyone be able to stand up against them?
Yeah, no, exactly.
That was a very, very good point. You know, if they turned up, you know, would there be a faction or would there be a group that would stand up to them?
Yeah, exactly. And maybe that was a hint to the fact that that's what Violent by Design is all about.
Mm,
You know, Eric knew this was coming. Maybe, I don't know. And
maybe.
he's getting his troops ready. So yeah, interesting. But I do think that going forward, what would be interesting was if they then sort of kind of brought somebody into VBD from AEW.
That could be interesting.
That would be very interesting as well. So, you know, who that could be, I don't know. I mean, they've got some really big dudes and stuff. I've forgotten the name. I keep forgetting his name. Lance Archer. Like, Lance Archer would be cool in Violent by Design. I think he would be very good for that. But, you know, like you said, you know, who knows where we're going to go. I still think that, you know, maybe Violent by Design are going to bring somebody in rather than necessarily recruit everybody on the Impact roster. But, you know, it's going to be interesting to see where this whole storyline goes. I still think it's one of the most intriguing things on Impact for me at the moment. I found Joe, I'm going to say this now, as much as he was very dominating, he's obviously a massive guy, very powerful man. I find Joe to be a little bit wooden in the ring.
Really?
Yeah, but that's just my thing. He doesn't look natural. It doesn't look natural to me. And this whole snarl, you know, the lifting the lips thing. I don't understand what like.
Maybe it was the fact that he was in there with Jake, because sometimes big man matches can be a bit awkward.
Maybe I don't know.
I will agree that I find his facial expressions to be a bit awkward.
Yeah, he's a bit. I don't know. It's very like stereotypical. I'm gonna snarl at you, rather than just look menacing. Yeah. Like I think it'd be better if he just looked menacing rather than snarling at you. Yeah. I don't know. It's weird.
You use the eyes rather than the mouth.
Exactly. Yeah. Use your face rather than your mouth. You know, like you could do it with sort of kind of, you know, frown or, you know, whatever it is you want to do. There's loads of ways that you could look menacing rather than having to do some sort of, to me, it's a bit comic book snarly kind of thing, you know, and I don't know. It doesn't do it for me, but he's clearly a big dude, very powerful, and great to have him on the roster. Yeah. So obviously, yeah, it's left with Jake in the ring with a towel on him, which, you know, seems to be an offer to join the you know, the, what do you want to call it? It's like a cult, isn't it? The cult of Evil, I guess, to join the cult. But we'll have to wait and see. So then that moves on to the main event. So we've got Moose, Sammy, Ken, Shamrock, and Chris Bay in one corner. We then see Swan, Mac, and Dreamer get brought in, and then we're all waiting to find out who was in the office, and who comes out. None other than Trey Miguel. How cool was that? I think it was a fantastic moment. I didn't want to mention Trey earlier, but, you know, because I wanted it to come to this point. But wow, you know, I thought his ring gear looked great. You know, he's dyed his hair. He looks a little bit different. And he's certainly got a different attitude, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's got a lot more intensity to him, and I haven't seen that intensity in Trey since the feud with Ace Austin.
That's right. I think that Ace Austin match was amazing. That feud match, you know, the banged your mother thing, or, you know, whatever it was. You know, I thought that was very well done, and Trey was so good in those matches with Ace. So I'm looking forward to seeing that kind of attitude again from him.
Yeah, I mean, I really didn't expect Trey, and if I'm honest, it'd have been one of the last people I'd have guessed, which kind of made it interesting. I was like, whoa, hello.
That kind of made it cool, because it was someone like I didn't think it was going to be Trey.
I didn't know if it was a good surprise or not, because it was one of those where, and when I say like not a good surprise, I don't mean it's underwhelming. I just mean, like, how can I put it? He only just left, so it feels like, is it a return? Because it
But
feels
this
like
is
he
the
left a
thing.
couple of weeks ago.
But did he? This is the thing. Did he
Well,
actually
yeah,
leave?
maybe.
I made a point on probably, I think it was the Impacted after that show. If you watch all of that stuff again, right?
Mm,
That it was the other two that left that day. You
mm,
could almost, you could see that although Trey was involved in all of it, although he was a part of it all, it was more that he was participating because he was part of the Rascals, right? You know what I mean? Because he was part of that faction, so he had to be a part of it, right? He had to be a part of their goodbyes. And
mm.
then when they did all the reaction stuff, if you remember, it was only of Wentz and Dez. There was
True.
one specific segment where they asked of them, like, how they felt and all this stuff, and it was only Dez and Wentz.
Mm,
Trey wasn't there. Trey wasn't there at that moment. It was just those two, and they gave their thoughts and all the rest of it. You never saw any of that from Trey. Any of
yeah.
that, you just assumed Trey Miguel was gone. Everyone just assumed it. And then, which made sense, because if they were going to take him away to possibly repackage him a little bit, let us sort of kind of get used to the whole, the Rascals gimmick's now gone, effectively. Now we're going to get you need to be invested in the new version of Trey, then you need time. So it made sense. This is what I said then. It made sense that they took him away and then, let a load of other stuff go on, and people sort of almost not forget about him, but speculate and wonder. They're creating, where's Trey Miguel going to be, and all that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, yes, he's re-signed. He's back on Impact TV. And that makes a good story in
Yeah.
itself. That makes a good story in itself. I think it was great, and I'm not shocked to see him back. And the reason I say that is because about a month ago there was a bit of news. Nobody knew whether it was fake news or whatever, but it was banded around that Triple H had made a comment on something along the lines that Trey. Somebody asked him about Trey Miguel or something, and his comments along the lines were, well, some people take their careers or their futures seriously, and some people don't. And that was the comment. That was the comment that was made when Trey was brought up. And at that point there, I was like, okay. Why would Triple H be saying that if he's signed to the WWE?
Mm.
Seemed a bit of an odd one, because he was effectively dissing him. And he was dissing him because, by the sound of it, in the end, Trey turned him down.
Yeah.
So, so I think it's interesting. I think maybe Trey just knew that for him to break out as a singles competitor, they needed to be apart. So whether he went to AEW or stayed at Impact, I think it was inevitable he wasn't going to go to the WWE, because he doesn't want. It's not that he doesn't want to be part of that faction, but I think he has aspirations of becoming a big single star. Well, to do that, then he needed to sort of kind of rebirth himself, I think. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the Rascals were always known as the Rascals. Trey wasn't known as Trey. Dez wasn't known as Dez. Wentz wasn't known as Wentz, sadly.
No, they were the faction, the Rascals. And I know that, and I think a lot of the stuff that they were doing with Trey, where they were injecting him into main event stuff, world title matches, and all that kind of stuff, was almost a test to see, where he lied with the fan base. And I think the fan base loved Trey Miguel. So I think that pretty much solidified the fact that they see him as a main event player, whether it be now or certainly in the future. Like Ace, Ace Austin is a main event player, right? Is he quite a main event player as some of the guys that have recently been brought in? Not yet, but then it's great to have those guys in because he can learn from them. Same with Trey, like he's getting an opportunity now. He can be pushed. He can become the face of the company. You could put a company on the back of people like Trey and Ace Austin and people like that. So I think I think it's a really good move, and I'm really, really pleased
Yeah.
that he's made a return.
Yeah.
I think he's great. But I don't want to take too much away from the match, because the match was pretty good too.
Oh, yeah.
So we ended up with a match. Trey Miguel comes back. Like I said, he's got his new gear. He's got a new look. He's certainly got a new attitude. And I've written here, new attitude, no more rascal, because he's clearly not the rascal character anymore. So it was good. New attitude. Really, really good to see. But Trey didn't get in for quite some time.
No.
So we had some really, really good stuff from Sammy, Moose and Bay, Bay doing his usual, sort of kind of showing off thing, showing how good he is, because he is really good. We had Swan in there. Dreamer was in there. Willie Mack had a really good sort of set time in there as well, didn't he? He had his bits where he was sort of kind of pounding on Moose and stuff, and it was good. So there was some good 2 and 3 stuff, but eventually Trey comes in, and of course Trey comes in,
sort of gets the hot tag.
Yeah, he gets the hot tag, all guns blazing, absolutely superb. And then of course eventually they get the win. Swan's team gets the win. And they walk away victorious. Again, like I say, the faces beat the heels, which is great. I think it's great. It was a good way to end the show. It was a lovely surprise to have Trey come back, because nobody thought it was him.
No.
Nobody. We had all sorts being picked. Monty Brown and people like that. Michael Elgin, I think, was mentioned. There was a lot of people that were sort of like who could be. So I think I even saw people saying, "Oh, Bully Ray," people like that. I was like, "What, really?" But yeah, so it was good. No, it was great. It was a great way to end the show. It was a really, really good match. And the only thing for me is the question of the Swan versus Dreamer world title match at No Surrender. That's the only question mark really for me for this entire show. What's that about? I get that, if it's his 50th birthday, blah blah blah, they're trying to say thank you to him, give him a main event match or whatever. But again, why was it a main event match? I'm a little bit confused. I'm a little bit confused on this. I'm thinking, is Tommy Dreamer retiring from in-ring performing?
It's very possible, isn't it, that this would be his go home or send off. But of all people, does he have much of a connection with Rich Swann?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know whether I know that Rich Swann appeared on House of Hardcore a few times, but I don't know if there's any training thing in there.
That's what I mean. Would he be the person you think he would put over on his retirement?
What, Rich Swann?
Yeah,
I'm not sure. That's the thing. I'm not sure it's about putting anybody over. Because let's face it, Rich Swann is going to beat Tommy Dreamer, right? I mean,
we hope so.
It would be absolutely ludicrous if Rich Swann was to lose to Tommy Dreamer. Go in there and have an incredible match with some of the people, matches that he's had over the years, to then lose to Tommy Dreamer at 50. That would just be stupid. So
the only way I can see it changing hands is if Moose comes in and costs Swann the match without Dreamer seeing it.
Maybe. I mean, if that's what they wanted to do, I don't know. I can't see it happening because I think what that does is it just like literally totally downgrades Rich Swann's credibility as world champ. You can't do that. That's just crazy. And even Rich wanting to agree to that would be just insane. But what I do think is that Tommy Dreamer has a crazy amount of respect from his peers in the business, no matter where they are. He's renowned as a Hall of Famer, in his own right for the business, almost like a Terry Funk of the wrestling world of today, where he gives back whenever he can. He very rarely goes over any of the younger talents, which is great. So the only thing, I'm starting, I don't know, he's 50. I mean, I'm 4 years off 50 myself, and I get it. Is it time for him to hang up his boots? Did he have something that he said to himself, you know what, if I'm still able to go at 50 is going to be my age where I just stop in ring. I don't know. I mean, I could be barking completely up the wrong tree. I mean, what are your guys' thoughts? Leave a comment down below. Any of the things that we've been discussing, to be honest, on tonight's show. Don't forget to leave us some great comments. We do like to answer them and continue the conversations on from the show in the comment section. So please don't hesitate to do that. Don't forget, obviously, to give us a thumbs up so we appear on as many people's timelines as possible. Don't forget to subscribe to the Total Nonstop Impact channel. We're doing really well. I think we're almost at 1,150 now, which is great, but it would be good to hit 1,250 by Valentine's Day. As Joe mentioned on our last Impacted, that would be very cool if we could do that. But we'll have to wait and see. We haven't got long to go. Can we hit it? 1,250. That'd be amazing. Okay, so where can we find you on the socials, Steve?
You can find me only on the Twitter at James D. Steve.
And that's it? Are you not on the Instagram or anything like that?
Nah, not over on the Instagram or anything, just the Twittergram, as they say.
Just on the Twitter, fair enough. And again, it's exactly the same thing for me. If you want to find the Bison, it's all on the screen here. You should see that, Lord Bison 45 on the Twitter box. Please, give us a follow. Don't forget to follow the @WeTalkImpact, the Total Nonstop Impact Twitter as well. Obviously, loads and loads of great content coming out almost every single day. I think we've got something coming. I mean, the UK side, TNI-UK, every Friday, Impacted, myself, Steve and Joe, or myself and Steve, or myself and Joe, or just generally, or Steve and Joe maybe in the future, who knows. But you'll get to see us every single Friday for Impacted. I also do interviews, so Bison Talks Impact, which when I've got interviews in, they generally come out on a Monday. And then, of course, we have the incredible shows from the TNI boys over in the US. We've obviously got the review show on a Tuesday straight after, I think it's about half an hour or so after the show airs in the US. If you're up that late and you want to catch them live, they do a live review, so that's fantastic. We got the throwback show that they do as well. We also do special reviews, and they've also got the weekly where they talk about Explosion and stuff, which happens on the Impact Plus app. So well worth checking all of these different shows out, guys. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell. You never obviously miss any of the great content which comes out from TNI each and every week. That's it, guys. That was our breakdown, I guess, or our discussion on this week's Impact. So all that's left to say is really, I've been Bison. That's been the man known as Steve, and this has been Impacted.